How are you feeling right now? Can you be sure? How to become an emotion scientist? That may seem like a ridiculous question. Of course, we all know exactly what we are feeling. It may be the only thing about which we can be certain. So if it's all so completely, effortlessly self-evident, why would we need a science of emotion and emotional intelligence? We speak of emotion skills, but doesn't that mean there is something to be learned or not? Indeed, it does. It's a safe bet that no one in the history of the human race has ever known precisely what she or he is feeling, in all its complexity and contradiction and chaos at all times. Our neurons are firing hundreds of times a second, and lots of it what goes on up, there is a pure, roiling emotion. You could be brilliant with an IQ that Einstein would envy, but if you're unable to recognize your emotions and see how they're affecting your behavior, all that cognitive firepower won't do you as much good as you might imagine. A gifted child who doesn't have the permission to feel, along with the vocabulary to express those feelings and the ability to understand them, won't be able to manage complicated emotions around friendships, academics, limiting his or her potential. Our most important mental functions have an emotional aspect, even if they seem to be purely in the realm of cognition. And those factors determine significant real-life outcomes, our relationships, our performance, our decision-making, even our physical health. Our feelings encourages us to treat the people we care about with the love and the respect, or disregard their needs and wishes. Help us focus on our thinking or distract us, fill us with enthusiasm and the energy or deplete it our will. Open us up to outside world and wall us off from it. Feelings motivate us to do things that improve our lives and those of the people around us, but they can also adversely influence our actions without us even realizing it. In fact, that's when we are most vulnerable to emotions. In fact, when we fail to detect it. When we are making a decision, there are two kinds of emotions: integral and incidental. Integral emotions are directly caused by the action at hand. We are fearful while climbing a tricky mountain pass. We are joyful as we are falling in love. All completely understandable and connected to the moment. Incidental emotions that have nothing to do with what's going on. As we described earlier, we had an argument with our kids, and our lingering feelings and frustration and anger influence on how we drive to work or interact with colleagues at the office. These are the emotions that infiltrate our thinking without us being aware. We learn the skills to use our emotions wisely, not suppress them or ignore them. In fact, just the opposite. We'll no longer be controlled the feelings we may not even perceive. Anxiety is a signal that we feel something important is beyond our control. Fear or uneasiness can make us risk averse. They can be a positive thing. It may steer us away from taking foolish chances. But if we are too risk adverse or keep up in the face of obstacles too easily, will never try anything, thereby guaranteeing failure. That's why we need to understand our emotions, be aware of how they influence our actions, and have strategies to regulate them. Becoming an emotion scientist will help us to recognize the physical symptoms that sometimes accompany strong feelings. Suddenly I am feverish and my heart is racing, or I'm feeling a cold ache in my stomach. All real sensations, sometimes emotional rather than physiological, sometimes not. When these symptoms present themselves, we don't always pause to ask, is there an emotion behind us? And what can I do about it? Or am I just dehydrated, or hungry, or tired? Is there an emotion behind us? And what can I do about it? Or am I just dehydrated, or hungry, or tired, and I need to drink, or eat something, or just to go to bed? Yes, I was just gonna feel that. And just before, for instance, I haven't done my routine yet, so usually just when I finish my routine and then I just try to eat. But when I finish reading routine, then I feel so low, and then I don't know why. It's not really motivated or kind of excited. That's why I ate something to fill me up, so I feel much better. Yeah, so that's what's different. So I can feel it. I should figure out the reason why my condition was not that good. So it was like that. And then also I'm still considering that, like, what did I eat last night, which might affect my condition today. So I thought about that as well. Okay, so when these symptoms present themselves, we don't always pause to ask. So we should ask, which means like that, right? By the author. Is there an emotion behind us? And what can I do about it? Or am I just dehydrated, or hungry, or tired, and I need to drink or eat something, or just go to bed? An emotion scientist can have the ability to pause, even at the most stressful moments, and ask, what am I reacting to? We can learn to identify and understand all our feelings, integral and incidental, and then respond in helpful, proportionate ways. Most of you acquire emotional skills, but what exactly are they? In it, they asserted that the majority of life tasks are influenced by emotion. We all have emotion skills, the authors wrote, but to varying degrees. The ability to perceive accurately, appraise, and express emotion, the ability to access and originate feelings when they facilitate thought, the ability to understand emotion and emotional knowledge, and the ability to regulate emotion to promote emotional and intellectual growth. That's a fine textbook definition. We should all possess those skills, but it's hard to infer what emotional intelligence looks like in practice from the definition alone. There are individual differences in how we process information of every type. Some of us are naturally better at math than others, while some of us excel at language-based tasks. But we all learn and improve in those areas. Similarly, some of us are more fluent and intuitive than others when it comes to emotional matters. But we can all learn and improve here too. I often ask people to describe an emotional intelligent person. Try it yourself now. What are the skills? Some people say empathy, which allows us to relate to what others are feeling. Empathy is about having a shared emotional experience. If you feel shame from childhood experiences, and I've also experienced shame, then we can feel empathy for each other. Empathy often is enriched with emotion skills. Empathy can help you connect with someone, but it won't necessarily help you to support a person in managing his or her difficult emotion, or stop you from getting lost in someone else's shoes. That's where emotion skills come into play. Now there is what we commonly think of as emotional stability. We tend to view a calm, poised demeanor as a sign of a superior emotional wisdom. It denotes inner peace and harmony. People who are serene and together may possess great emotional skills, but the same may be true of those who are conspicuously neurotic. In fact, sometimes, out of pure necessity, people who are high in the neuroticism also demonstrate great emotion skills. They need them in order to regulate their own tumultuous inner lives. But neither stability nor neuroticism equals emotional intelligence. Grit, which Angela Duncan Worth, a professor of the University of Pennsylvania, defines it as perseverance and a passion for long-term goals, has become a popular psychological construct in recent years. Research shows that grit is associated with many important outcomes from academic achievement to income. But grit isn't an emotion skill. There are plenty of gritty people who struggle with regulating their emotions. Grit and emotional intelligence are not in competition with each other, but rather work hand in hand to support people in achieving their goals. Here's how, on the path to success, greedy people like myself often fail to achieve certain goals. We get frustrated, disappointed, or overwhelmed and receive negative feedback. Therefore, having a repertoire of emotion regulation strategies can help greedy people to overcome difficult emotions and obstacles that rise in a journey toward achieving long-term goals. And as we know, the right amount of persistence may lead to success, but too much can be counterproductive. Resilience is also mentioned as an emotion skill. According to the American Psychological Association, it is the process of adapting while in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, and significant source of stress, such as family or relationship problems, serotonin health, or serious health problems, or workplace and financial stresses. Has revealed the biological markers that differentiate how sensitive children referred to as orchids respond to environment changes compared with how resilient children, who they call dandelions, dandelion, react. Dandelion children, they thrive in most any condition, whereas orchid children tend to be more fearful and overwhelmed in uncertain social situations. Whether an orchid or dandelion children, does better or worse likely has to do with how families, teachers, and peers support the emotional development. If neglected, orchid children promptly wither. But if they are raised in supportive conditions, they not only survive but flourish compared with the generation children. Emotion skills are likely to antecedent to building a resilience. Dandelion, I don't know the word mean. Yeah, finally, emotion skills are not constellation of traits such as confidence or charisma or popularity. Oh, okay, emotion skill. It doesn't mean having a good personality. Whatever that is, it is kindness or warmth or a high self-esteem. It is an optimism. Those may be all desirable qualities that makes us appealing to the rest of the world. We may aspire to any of all of the above, but they are not emotion skills. So, what are they? First, emotion skills must be acquired. Nobody is born with them all in place and the right to work. Emotion skills amplify our strength and help us through challenges. If I am an extrovert and I need to shine, then I must learn to read my environment so I can see when I overwhelm others and I tone myself at them. If I am introvert, my tendency to be quiet and subdued might underwhelm people at home, school, or workplace, so I will need to amp myself up at times so the world can see my enthusiasm. I asked my host what the colors meant. She said that green indicate I'm comfortable with receiving a hug. Yellow meant as before hugging, and the red proclaimed stay away. I had done, which demonstrated the small correlation between emotional intelligence and IQ. A senior professor made little effort to hide this skepticism, as if the two qualities couldn't coexist within one person. There were so many prejudices, weaknesses, and contradictions encoded into the statement. It restores balance to our thought processes. It prevents emotions from having induced influence over our actions, and it helps us realize that we might be feeling a certain way for a reason. They are known by acronym RULER. The first skill, recognizing occurrence of an emotion. By noticing a change in one's own thoughts, energy, or body, or in someone else's facial expression, body language, or voice. That's the first clue that something important is happening. The second skill, understanding, which means that we know the cause of emotions and see how they influence our thoughts and decisions. This helps us make better predictions about our own and others' behavior. The third skill is labeling, which refers to make connections between emotional experience and precise terms to describe it. People with a more mature feeling vocabulary can differentiate among related emotions such as pleased, happy, elated, and ecstatic. Labeling emotions accurately encourages self-awareness and helps us communicate emotion effectively, reducing misunderstanding and social interaction. And fourth skill, expressing, which means knowing how and when to spread our emotions. Depending on the setting, the people we are with, and a large context. People who are skilled in this area understand that unspoken rules for emotional expression, also called display rules, often direct the best way to express what they feel and modify their behaviors accordingly. The fifth skill, regulating, which involves monitoring, tempering, and modifying emotional reactions in helpful ways in order to reach personal and professional goals. This doesn't mean ignoring inconvenient emotions. Rather, it's learning to accept and deal with them. People with this skill employ strategies to manage their own emotions and help others with theirs. In the ruler framework, the first three skills, recognizing, understanding, and labeling, help us to accurately identify and decode what we and others are feeling. Then, with two remaining skills, expressing and regulating, tell us how we can manage those emotions to achieve desired outcomes, our ultimate goal. Your intelligence quotients, IQ, daily life requires emotion skills at every turn, yet provides a little reliable feedback on how well we are doing or if we are improving. We know for a fact that no matter how smart you are, your emotions will have an influence, positive or negative, on your rational thought processes. That's important. We've already explained the 5 key emotion skills, so let's try an experiment. A simple subtask you can take and measure your own. You will have to score yourself from 1, very unskilled, to 5, very skilled, on 5 statements that nearly sum up what it takes to be an emotion scientist. I'm able to accurately recognize my own and others' emotions. I'm aware of the causes and the consequences of my own and other feelings. I have a refined emotion vocabulary. I'm skilled at expressing the full range of emotions. I'm skilled at managing my own emotions. How confident are you in the significance of your score? Let's admit the fatal flaw in this test. None of us is completely unbiased when it comes to estimating our own mental skills, emotional or otherwise. So clearly, we are inclined to overstate our emotional skills. Perhaps, unsurprising, male students and estimates of their scores were significantly higher than those of the women, despite the fact that the men did worse than the women when they took a performance-based test. Like the one we just took, this is the most superficial and misleading, often measuring personality traits rather than emotion skills, and reacting to universal desires to feel spirit to our fellow human beings when it comes to the wisdom of heart. In the cooperative world, emotional intelligence is regularly accessed using a 360-degree format for the purposes of promotion and executive coaching. In this case, a person's score is based on his or her own self-report in addition to evaluations provided by peers, subordinates, and supervisors. These assessments are mostly connected with self-control, trustworthiness, conscientiousness, adaptability, teamwork ability, the ability to influence others, and inspirational leadership. all potentially important aspects of being a good leader and manager. The general consensus among researchers is these tools measure perceived traits, competences, and aspects of one's reputation, but not emotion skills. For the reasons stated above, there is a general agreement in psychology that performance tests, as opposed to self-reported skills, are the gold standard because they measure actual capacity for mental tasks.